Hello, good afternoon everybody. I'm going to attempt a few things today for the first time. One is using a microphone, so I hope this picks up the sound okay. I'm going to do some cooking live as well. I'm going to make a cheese and Ransom scone, which is Ransom is the three-cornered leeks, which is a bit like wild garlic. Basically to celebrate May, because it was the May Day on Friday. It would have been our May Fair on Saturday. So we're going to do a bit of celebrating May. So I hope that this works. I'm going to give Naomi the camera so she can film and we can hopefully get a few people watching and a few comments.
It's not switched around. Right.
Working?
Yeah.
Right, so I'm no Jamie Oliver, but I'm just going to make some scones with some self-raising flour. I put about 10 ounces of self-raising flour in there. I'm going to add some margarine. So I've got about 2 ounces of margarine here. I'm going to rub it in to make it a bit like breadcrumbs. So you rub in the margarine. I should have also added the salt. So you put a pinch of salt in with your...
I can do it.
do you want to do that?
Yeah, you don't want to get it in the salt.
Because these are savoury scones, you want a nice pinch of salt.
A nice big one.
Yeah. And also I've put in some mustard powder. Do you want to put in a teaspoon of the mustard powder, Naomi?
With one hand.
I'll do it. Alright, so that'll just give it a little kick, a little bit of flavour. So I do it all very manually. I know people can use machines and that sort of stuff, but I tend to cook it by hand. And just rub it in, and there we have some breadcrumb-like consistency to the flour. Which is good. So scones are one of the easiest things to cook, I think. I'm not particularly a baker, but I do like making scones.
Mm.
And then I've got some cheese, which I've grated, so about 4 ounces of cheese. So an ounce is about 25 grams, so that's the conversion rate, so about 100 grams of cheese. But I don't put all the cheese in, I just put about 2/3 of the cheese in, or 3/4, and then the rest I save to put on the top of the scones, because it's lovely to have melted cheese on the top of the scones. And this is where I'm going to go and get my three-cornered leek out of the garden. Have we got any viewers, Naomi? Does it tell you?
I have 2, but it doesn't say who they are. You've had up to 5.
Right, let's go to the garden.
Whoa, this is... Wait.
So as you can see, I've made it like the May Fair. I put bunting up, make it festive.
Wait.
On Friday the children also put some ribbons out on the tree, on the apple tree, to celebrate May. And also did a little bit of maypole dancing, so put some ribbons out there.
Oh.
So here's our three-cornered leek, which I always call wild garlic, and it smells very similar to wild garlic and tastes very similar. That is, really smells beautiful. Coming to the end now because it's, you know, lots of flowers, very flowering. You can use the flowers as well, but at the moment I'm just going to cut the leaves and try to cut the ones that are newer and younger and fresher to include in the scones. So give it a nice garlicky flavour. Smells gorgeous amongst this. How is everybody today? How's everybody coping with lockdown? We're about 6-7 weeks in. Have you discovered new things? Have you been learning new things, trying new things? Right, there's a nice handful of Ransom 3-cornered leek that we'll take back
Have a
up
flower.
to the kitchen. And a flower. Just give them a quick wash. Just chop them up quite small.
Tracy says hi, Matt.
Hi Tracy. So I don't know if anybody's actually attempted live cooking before on TrustLinks Live. I think this is a first. Although we have had some pre-recorded cooking, which I know Choice did. Shame you can't all smell it. It's not smell-o-vision because it smells gorgeous. The Ransoms, really garlicky. So I'll just put those in there. So they're sort of like an oniony, leaky type quality to it. So I have also used these for pesto. That was really nice, like a sort of garlicky pesto. I'm sure you could use them in lots of other things for cooking, like you would onions or garlic or leek. So I just put a bit of milk in to give it a bit of dough-like texture.
A different Tracy says hi, Matt.
Hello Tracy. It's all the Tracys today.
Watch your fingers when you're cutting.
Yeah, I try to keep my fingers down like I see Jamie Oliver does on the TV.
No, don't you tuck it in?
Yeah, tuck them in and then cut.
And Jackie says, hi Matt, I remember your scones were always a success.
Yes.
I've never been successful at making them. Great to see sunshine again. Scones will have to be my thing to learn in lockdown.
Oh, Jackie, you'll have to follow this recipe. It's quite simple. It's one of the most simple things. Self-raising flour is the trick because then that gives it a
Great
good...
self-raising flour.
Just move the scales. Just combine it all. You don't want it to be too wet, but you want it to be wetty enough to be doughy. And then that's got a good mixture of the cheese and the Ransom, so the flavour will be spread throughout. Put a bit of flour down on the surface. More flour. Yeah, we've had some nice scones and other lovely cakes and things like that at our May fairs in the past. Hopefully again next year. We had our wassailing, which was brilliant, earlier in the year. It was due to be our 10th May fair this year, growing together. But unfortunately, obviously cancelled on Saturday, but hopefully we'll have it again next year. I'm just going to get the cutter. So make it about 3 centimetres thick. It's not quite 3 centimetres, 2 centimetres. And I butter the baking pan, just baking tray, so that it doesn't stick to that. So this should make enough for an afternoon tea. A nice cup of tea and a cheese scone. So you can make scones with lots of different things. I've got a recipe book from the National Trust,
Does it?
and you can have some lovely different flavoured scones. Or obviously just fruit and plain and a nice bit of clotted cream. It's very good with scones. I was going to make cheese and orange and chocolate. That was my plan as well. Do that another time. Just one last one. So that can just be its own, slightly out of shape. And I'll just get the milk and brush some milk on it, so that gives it a bit of a glaze. A lot of scones have egg in them, but this recipe doesn't need egg. And there's a bit of a shortage of eggs anyway, isn't there?
And Georgia says, "Hi Matt, a man of many talents."
Thanks, Georgia. Look forward to your cooking sessions soon. Just put the cheese on top, which I think is the bit that gives it a really lovely flavour and a crunch. This is mature cheddar cheese, which gives it a nice strong flavour. Right, and then I'll just put them in the oven probably for about 12 minutes. We'll try not to. So this is on gas mark 7, so nice and hot. Top of the oven where the heat rises. Just wash my hands. So this is supposed to be in the garden session, so we'll go out in the garden while the scones cook.
You can wash your hand. Dry hand.
No, that's fine. So we're out in the garden. As you can see, I've got all of this lovely bunting up. You can make bunting, and I saw on the BBC website that they're encouraging people to make bunting for Friday, for the VE Day, and there's quite a simple template to cut out bunting, and then you can decorate them and put them in your window. So that might be something you'd like to look at doing over the next few days. Something to do and something to celebrate VE Day with. So we were looking at May crowns, because that's what we've done in the past. For those that have come to our May fair, maybe you've seen and had a go at May crowns. I've got some lovely photos of people wearing their May crowns, and I was just having a go this morning and over the weekend at different types of May crowns. So this is just a plant we've got in our garden, just a shrub. We were looking at using quite soft stems, because the harder they are, the more brittle they are, and then the harder they are to bend. So I picked some ivy earlier, and the ivy is pretty good because it's malleable. Obviously there's lots of different types of ivy. Ivy is very, very good for wildlife and nature as well. It provides lots of habitats for nature. So ivy is a really good one. Or as I say, different shrubs. And then what you can do once you've got it is just get a bit of string, use that to tie up the crown, and then basically weave some different plants in. So I've got the bluebells that were growing in our garden. They're coming to an end really now, so I found picking them, the longer you can pick them, the easier it is to weave them around.
In response to what you were saying, Georgia said that I can make toast just about.
Excellent. I look forward to your toast masterclass.
And Clive says, "Hi Matt, go well with my recent delivery from Tiptree."
Oh yeah, Clive was inspired by my delivery to Tiptree and got a delivery.
It was quite exciting.
It was very exciting. Tiptree are coming out with a vintage van, and they're delivering things to people's homes.
We've got caramel spread.
Yeah, we've got caramel spread, we've
and
got
strawberry
some
jam.
nice jam and that sort of thing. So that's a really good thing to get in lockdown for those that like jam. So the bluebells, I think. So this is kind of
the other way, so it's facing that way. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm holding the camera.
This is reminiscent a bit of my green man a couple of weeks ago, I think. And I think, you know, you wear a May crown and it looks a little bit like a green man as well. And this overhangs from my neighbour's garden. I don't know what it is, but it's very beautiful. So kind of trying to put interesting things in, and then I've got the lemon balm again, which smells gorgeous, and I probably need to do a cooking with lemon balm at some point. And
What
again,
can you cook
weave
with
that
lemon
in.
balm? Scones
Well,
again.
lemon balm's really good for tea. You can have lemon balm tea, but also any sort of green leafy vegetable like that you can use for pesto.
Lemon balm pesto.
Lemon balm pesto. Put some nettles in it as well, wild nettles. And I can smell the scones cooking, which is rather exciting. Oh, that snapped off.
Did you time it?
No. Is anybody timing my scone cooking for me?
I don't think so.
We don't want them to be burnt. So Naomi wore one on Friday, which has dried out beautifully, and it's up there. So obviously when they're fresh, that is the perfect time to wear your May crown. But then when they dry out, I think we should do sponsored May crowns. That could be our new Trustings fundraiser, perhaps. Who would wear one for May, and who would look more silly? We could have May crown selfies. I've just made up a fundraiser, obviously, as I do. Georgia, are you going to help with that? I think maybe all the staff need to wear their May crowns for the next Zoom call. It's a very Trustlinks thing to do. I did have some forget-me-nots as well.
Georgia says the scones have only been in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I should do another 5 minutes then, really. So the more sort of interesting little flowers you can have, the better, that just add to that interesting crown.
And she said, I will wear a May crown in capitals.
Excellent. So you won't do cooking, but you'll wear a May crown, so that's very, very good. I think definitely something to be encouraged. So we've got a whole load of different ivy. The ivy that I cut this morning, some of it's not quite so bendy, so we didn't really use that in the end.
Where'd you cut it from?
Just round the corner, by the railway line.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's quite nice ivy, quite bendy. Something, a really good activity to do with children, particularly this week, obviously it being May. So I was looking up May, traditions of May, and yeah, the first traditions was in the Roman Empire, and the goddess of flowers, I'll have to look up her name. Flora, something like that.
You wrote it down.
Was the first bit of May traditions, but obviously the main May traditions that people still know and celebrate now are maypole dancing and having a May crown, because it's the beginning of spring, celebrating the May tree, the maypole, and using plants like hazel in particular. I was speaking to my 95-year-old granddad yesterday on Zoom, and he was telling me that when he was a child, when he was 7, they did maypole dancing. So obviously something that's been going a long time in this country. and something that we revived recently at Growing Together through our Mayfair, I was pleased to say. I remember doing a bit of maypole dancing as a child. I don't know if schools really do it so much now, do they?
No, I didn't.
Naomi didn't, but luckily you did it at
I don't think I did.
Growing Together. Should we go and check on the scones? I think I'll leave the May crown there.
What your thing?
Oh, lovely. So they've risen beautifully, started to go a nice pale brown colour, as you can see.
Yeah.
They smell absolutely gorgeous. Probably could do with a couple more minutes just to
The other way around.
brown off. I've turned them round, that was at the back. So we've got an old-fashioned gas oven, so that's how they cook in a gas oven. But probably if you're in an electric oven,
I don't know. It's an electric oven.
it'd be more even. You didn't know there was such a thing as an electric oven.
No, I don't know
we're
what would
an
happen.
old-fashioned family.
Well, not really.
So has anybody got anything they'd like to say? Any questions while we're live? Lovely to see you all. I hope you're well. I hope you're looking after yourselves. I hope you're staying
Some
safe.
shadow on your face. And Jackie Colgan says, good cooking, crafting, and now history. What else?
I know. I tried to up the ante a bit with these things, but I was going to look at doing a bit of bug house building maybe next week, and den building another time, stuff to do with the kids. I have grown a lot of seeds this year, but I think a lot of other people are doing lives on seed sowing and are much more knowledgeable than me. So, and I can't really compete with Gareth for the craft. He's doing brilliant crafts, and I think he's got a brilliant one set up for Friday, doing stained glass windows. So looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm going to have to see what else I can do cooking wise, or garden crafts or garden activities. There are lots to do, lots and lots of different things that you can do to keep yourself and other people that you're with entertained, and hopefully stuff that you can do on quite a low budget and stuff that you can do with the resources that are at hand. So that's why I think the May Crown is a great one, because it didn't really involve any resources, literally just cutting things from the garden and the neighbourhood on my daily walk, and just a bit of string to put it together. So something to think about, something to do, and I think the scones are probably done now, aren't they?
Probably. Tricia says, very impressed with all your skills, Matt. And then she said, I've just planted some ransom, so now know what to do with it.
Brilliant. It grows really, really easily, and loads of it has taken over most of the bottom of our garden, to be fair. So I think we're probably going to have to dig some up, because they sort of have like little bulbs at the bottom, so they're quite portable. So if anybody wants some, you can probably plant them in the autumn when we're back from lockdown. We can have them growing in your garden next year. I went to Growing Together Westcliff on Saturday to feed the chickens, and there's some lovely wild garlic there as well, which looks beautiful. There's the non-shaped one, but it will still taste as nice, won't it? Right, I'm going to not taste them now because I think they're going to be a bit hot. I will have them later, and I'm sure they'll be lovely. It's not like one of those TV studios where you have the audience that, or the celebrities there that taste it and say how wonderful it is. But thank you for joining me today. Lovely to see everybody, and I hope you're keeping safe and well. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.